One Well, Part 2. Animals at the well. Like plants, animals, including you, are mostly made of water. The water in animals is very important. It carries nutrients, helps digestion, removes waste, controls temperature, cleans eyes, and lubricates oils your joints. Water habitats are also home to many of Earth's animals and are where many animals find their food. Water species such as fish, crabs, shrimp, and zooplankton are an important part of food chains around the world. A food chain is the link that connects animals and other species based on who eats whom. Without water-based species, food chains and food webs, collections of food chains, would collapse. Animals would starve. Animals not only need water to survive, they are also part of the water cycle. Animals add water to the atmosphere by breathing, sweating, peeing, and even drooling. The water you brushed your teeth with today may have been the spray of a beluga whale 10 years ago. Hard to believe. Some of the wettest animals on Earth are the jellyfish. They are about 95% water. Frogs and earthworms are about 80% water, while dogs, elephants, and humans are 70% water. Another fact, all animals need water to drink, even desert animals. They get much of the water they need from the food they eat. Finally, animal life began in the ocean. Then, about 360 million years ago, some animals started to evolve. Their bodies began to change and they slowly adapted to living on land. Watery habitats. Saltwater marshes are wetlands that occur where the land meets the sea. These habitats are home to a wide diversity of species, from microscopic bacteria, fungi, and algae to fish, crustaceans, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Some rainforest frogs, insects, spiders, worms, and bacteria live their entire lives in the tiny pools of water that get trapped by the leaves of the bromeliad plant. Two other facts. How can fish live in frozen lakes? Water freezes from the top down, but it rarely freezes right through. The ice at the surface is like a blanket that keeps water below from freezing. Finally, coral reefs are found in the warm, shallow waters of oceans. They have been described as the rainforest of the sea because they are home to an incredible diversity of species. A habitat is a place where an animal can find everything it needs to live: food, shelter, space, and water. Water is such an important part of an animal's habitat that if there isn't enough available, the animal will move away, even if all its other needs are met. Most animals depend entirely on watery places, such as oceans, lakes, and wetlands, for their habitat. Freshwater habitats, lakes, rivers, and streams, are home to about 12% of all the animal species in the world. Saltwater habitats, oceans, seas, and some saltwater lakes, are home to 60% of all fish species, as well as many other species, including some mammals and reptiles, such as whales, turtles, and sea snakes. Some of these animals live their whole lives in water and wouldn't survive out of it. Others, such as frogs, toads, and many insects, spend part of their lives in the water and part on land. Whether water is their habitat or just part of their habitat, animals could not survive without it. People at the well. Since the beginning of time, people have depended on water for drinking, for food, for bathing, and for watering their crops. Water has also provided a highway to move people and products from place to place. As cities and societies grow, so does their need for water. Today, water is essential in our homes, in industry, and in agriculture. At home, we use water for cleaning, cooking, drinking, flushing toilets, and for bathing. But homes account for only 10% of all the fresh water use. About 21% of the water we use goes to make everything from computers to cars. Water is used in hydroelectric plants to generate electricity and in petroleum plants to make gas. In factories, water is used to heat things up or cool things down and to wash away waste. Water vapor, steam, even runs machinery. Water is also an ingredient in many products such as lotions, shampoos, chemicals, and drinks. The remaining 69% of the fresh water we use goes into agriculture. Farms use huge amounts of water for crops and livestock. Look around. Almost everything you see was made using water. It took about 130 liters, or 34 U.S. gallons of water to make your bike. Water was used to grow and make the food you eat and the clothes you wear. Water was even used to make the paper for this book and the ink used to print the words. Some more amazing facts about water. It takes about 185 liters, or 49 U.S. gallons of water to produce just one glass of milk. This includes the water the cow drinks, the water used to grow food for the cow, and the water needed to process the milk. About 147,000 liters, or 38,800 U.S. gallons of water was needed to make your family's car. A lot of water is required to produce the food you eat. Approximately 5,200 liters, or 1,375 U.S. gallons of water is needed just to make one fast food lunch, which would include a burger, fries, and soda. In North American homes, the bathroom is where about 3/4 of all water is used. One flush of the toilet uses nearly 13 liters, or 3.5 U.S. gallons. A couple more facts. Nearly 1 billion people around the world depend on fish as their primary source of protein. And finally, are you thirsty? People drink an average of 2.5 liters, or 2/3 of a U.S. gallon of water a day. In your lifetime, you will drink the equivalent of a backyard swimming pool full of water. Freshwater and the well. Here's some facts about freshwater. Lake Baikal in southeast Siberia contains almost 1/5 of all the freshwater on Earth. It's also home to the Baikal seal, one of the world's few freshwater seals. The Bering Glacier in Alaska is the largest glacier in North America. It's about 5 times bigger than New York City and nearly twice as tall as the Empire State Building. Approximately 1/1000% of all water on Earth is in the atmosphere. If a tanker truck represents all the water on Earth, the water in the atmosphere would barely fill a third of a pop can. Finally, around the world, more than half the drinking water we use comes from underground aquifers, layers of gravel, porous or holy rocks or soil that traps large amounts of water. Not to mention, we actually live by one of the largest bodies of fresh water in the world, and the Great Lake System, what they don't mention here in this book. But it's true. A couple miles away, Lake Michigan, a huge source of fresh water.